What's up, guys? So, this is an ongoing series. This is probably episode two um, of Storytime with DeeJay. This is just me really practicing my storytelling skills while at the same time just sharing some of the stories that I'm experiencing through my life that have been impacting me, and hopefully, I hope that the way I communicate it and share it, that it also impacts you guys and you guys find some kind of value out of the story. Because I think it's the stories that I plan on sharing are gonna have like a universal theme to where hopefully you can see yourself in the story. So this is story number two, I believe. Uh, there's been some other stories, but I don't think that really matters right now. I just kind of wanted to preface this video of story time with DeeJay. So this news story, this has just happened 2 days ago, right? And let me pre-frame this story by saying that in my last video I shared that I've been doing seminars with Tony Robbins, and I've been learning a ton of skills on health, wealth. This last seminar that I just did was a seminar on leadership and just all that leadership entails, and I learned so much. And a beautiful thing about leadership is that I found a lot of commonalities in leadership with acting, because you're playing a leadership role, and there's certain behaviors that you take on with being a leader, with listening and observing and really bringing the best out of everybody. And it just resonated with me so much, and I've been having a blast, so much so that the group that I was in the Leadership Academy, there's like over 1,200 people at the Leadership Academy seminar, but I think there were about 40 or some 40-ish in my particular group, in our particular group that we had in the breakout, that we were together. That we actually started a meeting, a weekly meeting outside of the leadership seminar, because we wanted to continue to practice these skills, so they don't just become knowledge. It becomes practice. We apply them, and we do that together, kind of like how we did in the seminar. But this is something that we're orchestrating ourselves. It's just taking that leadership to the next level and really applying it. So we've been doing that. I think we've had 2 meetings so far since the seminar, and it's been 2 weeks since the seminar. So once per week since the seminar started. But and not only that, but I have also took it upon myself to practice outside of the Leadership Academy and outside of the leadership meetings that we've been doing. As soon as the Leadership Academy stopped and the seminar stopped, I just called, like, I don't even remember how many. I think I've done 10 people so far just to practice these tools. I was like, hey, guys, I just did a seminar. I just learned a bunch of cool stuff, and I really want to apply it. I really want to lock it in to really become good at it. I don't want to just be, something that I know. I want to be something that I actually use proactively. And I've done that with like 10 plus people. A lot of them that I asked, but I'm not gonna lie, some of them I did not ask. And I I find that kind of funny, because I was talking to my coach, one of my life coaches, and he was saying how I was telling him about how I'm doing this, and he was saying how it's actually not that great of an idea to not ask to use these tools, because some of it is psychology. And because he told me how, I think he said like 10, 15 years ago, he also started doing it without asking people, and he did it with a coworker and a friend of his, and his coworker actually called him out. He was like, "Yo, hey, you're doing some psychology bullshit with me," and he said that really took a strain on his relationship with him, and he said it took like 2 to 3 years to actually recover that. So I try to be cautious with it, and I try to make sure that I ask people, "Can I use it?" But sometimes I don't, and it's something I can get better at. I'm not gonna lie. But I think the intention is there to be good, to do good with it, not to manipulate people or anything like that. But that's the pre-frame of the story, is that I've been actually using these skills. I use it on other people, and I use it on myself. I've been using these leadership skills on myself to really move myself in the direction to where I want to go, because if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And that was a big main point that really resonated with me throughout the seminar. So I make sure that I use it on myself. So I've really been applying these things diligently, which leads me to 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, I DoorDash, so I'm dropping off my car for some maintenance and repairs. I do more maintenance on my car than I don't know how many people, but it's because I drive it so much doing DoorDash. But yeah, it's a lot of time spent at Firestone. Anyway, so I walk into Firestone. It's like 8 a.m. in the morning. Super super early for some people. Um, I walk in and I see there's a lady talking to a man who works there, and I come in like mid conversation. They've already been talking before I walked in, and I hear the man who works there saying, "No, ma'am, I'm not really sure what we can do for you because your check engine light is no longer on, so we don't really know what the problem is." And she's telling the man that works with them, this is what I'm hearing. Well, when I took it to somebody yesterday, they said that it was a misfired cylinder. And he said, "I understand that, ma'am, but you said your check engine light was on right then." And the really cool thing about this, and one of the reasons why I'm telling the story is because it was really cool to see this conversation play out, because it was like it was happening in slow motion. So like I felt good about myself because everything that I've been practicing with like observing and really like being present in the moment and seeing how like people in different states are interacting with each other, it was like this conversation was just playing out in slow motion. So I'm seeing this lady, and she like turns around because she turns around and I see her eyes, and her eyes are like owl eyes. I'm talking about they're just open like super super wide, because she's like in survival mode. Like she's just out for looking for like any kind of danger, because I could see the stress on her face, the anxiety, the worry, the frustration. I could just see that in her face, literally in her eyes. And like I don't know if I've ever seen that before. It's so clear as I did that day, 2 days ago. And she's just like, well, I have somewhere where I have to be this weekend. I'm going out of town. I don't know if it was like a vacation or something, but she said, I'm going out of town, and I need my car fixed because I don't want it dying on me when I go out of town. I have places I have to go." And the gentleman's trying his best to kind of like just keep the peace, because it looks like she's like really about to just go over the edge. And he's like, "Well, ma'am, I understand that, and I'm telling you that if we hook up the machine to the car, because your check engine light's already off, that no codes are going to come up." And she was like, so you're telling me there's nothing I can do? Is that what you're telling me? He's like, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm just saying that if we hook up this machine and nothing comes up, you're going to spend your money for no reason, because you're not going to see what the problem actually is. And she was like, So you're saying that it's gonna make it 500 miles with the repairs? Like she's putting like words in his mouth, because again, I don't think she's really like listening too much. She's in her own personal world of like, because she's stressed. You know what I mean? Because she's been dealing with this problem. She thought she could get it fixed, and apparently she came to the location and she's unable to get it fixed. And again, that conversation goes, and again, it's going in slow motion. So I'm just like. It's kind of like I'm watching reality TV in a way. Like I'm watching like a spectacle, and I'm just observing. Like I'm not trying to jump in it, because I've never practiced that. I've never practiced someone that I didn't know, and also who wasn't in the breakout rooms that we do with the meetings. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna kind of see what I can learn. I'm gonna use this experience to learn. I'm not gonna jump in and try to break her state or anything, right? And he just, again, the gentleman tells the lady saying, "Ma'am, we can put the thing on the car. If that's what you want to do, we can put the machine on the car, but again, you might be wasting your money, ma'am." And she just goes, so she turns from him and starts walking towards the door. And, I'm standing right in front of the door because I just walked in, and I see her walk towards me. We're really walking towards the door, and she hits one of those like, again, I'm watching this thing play out. And like her non-verbal body language is saying like, "Can you believe this guy?" That's what I thought she was saying. And so she walks past me, hits me with one of those, and then she walks past me, and then she looks back at me, because again, I'm watching this happen. Like I'm like locked in. She looks back at me and she says, again, eyes super big, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, whoa, because like now I am no longer an observer. I'm in it. You know what I mean? She's locked in on me. That aggression, that frustration, that stress, all that things that she's feeling, that she was feeling, that I was watching. Now it's directed towards me. So now I'm in it. All right. And I'm gonna be honest. It took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting to be in it. I was just thought I was just gonna learn something from this experience. Little did I know I was gonna learn a lot more than I thought I would. But she's like, "So what are you looking at?" And the only thing I could really say, I fell back to like some of the skills that I learned. I was like, "Excuse me." That's all I could say. That's all I could think of saying. Like, "Excuse me." She says, "What are you looking at? You're staring at me. Why are you staring at me?" Again, eyes super, super big, aggression full on tilt towards me, and I'm feeling it in my soul. I'm feeling it, all this aggression towards me, and it's kind of strange because I don't know how this lady's gonna react if I try to, if I use these tools on her. Like, again, I didn't ask her. This is just real time in the field, something that you really can't prepare for, can't plan for. And so she's like, "Yeah, what are you looking at?" And I didn't even know I did this until I kind of reflected on it. But I fell back to one of the skills of like mirroring. And I was like, she said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, you don't want me looking at you?" I didn't say it very confidently. I made Maya add. It was kind of like that, but it wasn't even as confident as that was. I was like, you don't want me to look at you?" She says, "No, I don't want you to look at me. Stop looking at me." Now, I've been practicing these tools, guys. I told you how I started out the story. I've been using these tools a lot and applying them. You know what I mean? So I am a skilled leader and breaker of state, so I can get people into a different state and just shake them out, right? And this is good. This is what's going on in the back of my mind. And oh, by the way, this conversation, as soon as she looked at me, it was no longer in slow motion. Everything is going fast now. This is no longer a slow motion conversation. This is real time, maybe even quicker than real time. So like all these thoughts that I'm telling you guys that are going on in the background, these were happening in like nanoseconds. So I'm trying to like piece together all these things that are happening in the back of my mind. And one of the things that was going on in my mind while she was like saying, "No, don't look at me," is like, "All right, DJ, don't you back down. Don't you back down. Fun fact, I used to be bullied when I was a kid, like most of us were. So like I usually tend to meet aggression with aggression, right? Or sometimes I might just back down, like, "Hey, I don't want any part of this. I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted to watch." I could have backed down. That was one choice. I could have, and the choice that I ended up making was, she says, "No, don't look at me. Stop looking at me." And I'm like, "All right, I'm not going to back down." I say, "So, well, ma'am, you can solve that by walking out that door." She goes, and then she leaves. Now, you may be thinking, how did that help? How did that help that lady? And the reason you're thinking that is because it didn't. It didn't help her at all. I didn't use any of the tools that I learned, that I've been practicing, that I've been applying, just because it wasn't even a conscientious thing. It was just that I felt aggression towards me, and I knew that I didn't want to back down, and I knew that I needed to take action. But the action that I took was a pattern that I usually fall back into, which is meeting aggression with aggression and not backing down. So I actually think that I sent that lady on her way feeling worse than she did. Definitely not better than when I saw her there. And some people might take that story and say, that's not a happy ending, DJ. You didn't really do anything to affect her. And that's one way to look at it. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as this, that I knew that I didn't help her. This is after the fact. I reflect. I actually had to go to the gym right after that because I felt all that aggression. I took on that energy for myself, and I felt so much aggression inside of me that I had to go to the gym and work it out, and to really release that energy that I was feeling that I had built up inside me. And over the course of working out, I was just like, well, what could have went better? What went good? What went good is that I did not back down. But what could have went better is that I did not leave that lady feeling better, in a better state than when I found her. Granted, I don't know what would have happened if I would have did something different, but I know that the thing that I did choose to do was not effective, right? And I think the main lesson of this story for me was that we can prepare for almost we can go to the seminars, we can apply the tools, we can set up these meetings, we can call friends and let us practice the skills. But there's going to be things in life that we can't prepare for because life is so unpredictable. So even though that thing happened and I didn't show up to the level that I was capable of, I still showed up. And because I showed up, I learned from the poorer choice that I chose. And now I know going forward that in that position that I have that inside me to show up. Now, and I said this earlier, I was talking to, we actually just had a meeting this morning with the leadership people group that we'd be meeting with. And I was like, it was really true that it was like a fight or flight thing, and I chose fight. But in that fight is just a different kind of energy than flight. But I could have chose that fight energy and chose it rather than me, standing up for myself. I could have used that fight energy to actually help that lady. And, I thought of like all the different ways that I could have helped her, like how different choices I could have made. Like when she said, "No, don't look at me," I could have just did something like super fucking random. I could have been like, "Well, ma'am, there's something wrong with my eyes. I can't look away from beautiful ladies like yourself." Now, how that would have took, she could have smacked the shit out of me for saying something like that, but I don't know. You know what I mean? But for the simple fact that I'm not coming from the place of me trying to feel dominant, me trying to feel like I'm standing up for myself, and I'm coming from a place where I'm really trying to help this lady out. I'm not worried about how I'm looking. I'm not worried about how goofy or weird or random or any other adjective that how you could have described how I was behaving in that moment, because I'm really just locked in on really just making, even if she smiles, she's like, "Yo, this guy is fucking weird." That's a lot better energy than, "I'm going to rip your fucking head off." You know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest lessons. Like in life, we're going to have opportunities where we don't rise to the level of what we're capable of. It's not even that we don't rise, we just don't choose the options that we actually have. Again, like I said, I've been practicing these skills, so I'm capable. But I just wasn't ready in that moment to actually apply those things. Like I wasn't like, it just moved so fast for me. And that's okay. I don't view view that experience as a failure. I view that as a learning experience, because now I am improved. I've learned, and I can quickly improve. And I hope that I'm in another situation like that. And I I hope that I step up to myself, but I know for a fact that if that particular situation happens again, it probably won't happen exactly like that. But that fight or flight, that sequence is going to be very different. Now, I don't know how the rest of it's going to go, but I know for that particular fact that will never happen again, because I know how I felt after it. I didn't feel better. I felt better for the moment because, I stood up, but I didn't feel better afterwards because I knew that I didn't help that lady to the level that I could have, that I was capable of. And that's okay, because I've improved. So like this is a very, very happy ending, because I know that I've learned, that I've grew from that experience. And so many times we can be afraid to fail and to mess up. I know that's true for me personally. Like there's been a bunch of times where I didn't even try anything because I thought I wasn't ready. And even in that situation, I was okay with standing back and watching it and just learning, passively. I wasn't gonna step into that until she put her beams of aggression towards me. But even then, I didn't feel ready. But I chose to step up, and again, I didn't step up to how I could. But next time I'll be ready. So that's the story time for today, guys. And I just felt like that's something that I really wanted to share with you guys because it was just so insightful, and I feel like it's so relatable. And just put yourself. I feel like we've all been in these situations before. Maybe not exactly to a T, but I just appreciate you guys who stuck around and watched this. If you found any value in it, just please share with me. Let me know, like which part of it did you relate to, which part didn't you relate to, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I have on my schedule to do at least 8 of these stories, and this is only number 2. And the more life experience that I get, the more I'm going to share, and I'm really excited to see how these 8 stories play out. Because again, I wasn't planning on telling these stories when I said I was going to tell 8 stories. I wasn't planning on telling this particular story. It didn't happen when I said I was going to tell 8 stories. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm just super grateful that I had the opportunity to share this with you guys.